Hi, my name is Candace Jefferson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the love song of J.Alfred Prufrock. I'm going to be dealing with the themes and the motives of this poem. Hopefully, when I'm done with this lecture, you'll be able to understand what a theme is, what a motive is, and exactly what the theme and motive is in this poem. First, I want to begin by telling you what a theme is. A theme somewhat follows the plot of a short story or of a poem or of any passage. It's a central topic. It's usually the message that the writer uses in the story to convey to us as readers about life in general. A writer, for instance, or me today speaking to you, my theme is to get across exactly what a theme motive is and exactly what the theme and motive of this poem is. I'll go on and talk about a motive. A motive is the reoccurring of an idea, image, or theme. So a motive and a theme, they somewhat are the same. They relate to each other very greatly. I want to begin talking about the name of this passage, the name of this poem, The Love Song of J.Alfred Prufrock. When you first read that, the first thing that you think of is a love song. You think that you're going to read something very romantic, something with great brotherly love, something with, just something in the love category, something heartfelt. But actually, it's quite frustrating. He sees, although the person, the writer, I believe he sees at the possible loves, the joys, companionship, and of things, yet it's difficult for him to act on his desires. This poem, it talks about a very sad and tormented man, a very pathetic type of man, who basically outlines to us his love song. His desires, he kind of somewhat wants somebody or some reader to realize his plight, to understand where he's coming from. And I believe after reading this, you actually do understand where he's coming from, in a way. The title, like I said before, is very ironic. The irony in this title begins where it says the love song, and then begins because when you see love, you automatically think that that's the theme. But to me, that was not the theme. The irony also is in this title is when it says the love song and it combines it with the dull name Prufrock. So that has great irony to me. In this story, there are many assumptions made by the writer. So assumptions that seem to be disillusioned to me. The story goes on. It goes on to describe the journey as one, not of romance, like I said before, not of heartfelt or brotherly love, but one to me of frustration. There are several themes of this passage. Many stories, many poems, many essays, many lectures have several topics. Remember, I said a theme is a central topic. So many stories, many things have several themes. First, I want to throw out some themes, that are quite obvious, and then I'm going to elaborate on a few more things. Things such as frustration, like I said before, things of loss, things of, limitation, things of confusion. Those are all a few things that I've seen that were, occurred throughout this story. In this story, to me, he kind of criticizes the place where, he kind of criticized society in a way, to me, but that's just my opinion. Go on and talk about more things, some other things that I can actually elaborate on a little more would be loneliness. A theme that could go right along with that would be alienation. Prufrock in this passage is a pathetic man whose anxieties and obsessions have isolated him. That goes back to what theme is, I said before, which I'm going to mention many times after. is what the message that a writer gives to convey to us as readers about our life in general. And loneliness and alienation is definitely something that can convey to us, well, some of us, because some of us have obsessions and some of us have anxieties that allow for us to isolate ourselves as people, isolate ourselves away from things. So that would be definitely a thing that could relate to us, you know, from this writer. Indecision would be another thing that I think that could relate to us, you know, from this poem. Indecision, I think that I could describe that from where Prufrock, he resists making decisions for fear that their outcomes would turn wrong. That indecision was probably one of the main themes that I felt conveyed to us as readers, conveyed to us as human beings. I felt like indecision is something that we all face. Sometimes, well, all the time, every day, we have to make decisions, whether they're big decisions or small decisions. And at times, decisions, we worry about the consequences of that. So we're all, indecisive in our lives. Indecisive. We all are. That's something that, that we all face, I believe. That's my opinion, though. Inadequacy. I feel like Prufrock, he continually worries that he'll make a fool of himself. He continually worries about if people are going to ridicule him or not. He worries about his bald spot. Overall, he basically worries about his physical appearance. That was inadequacy to me, was most definitely something that this writer, he could convey to our life. I mean, he could probably convey to his life, because that inadequacy and like indecision, those are both things that we as humans can relate to. Inadequacy, we worry about what we wear, whether people will talk about us. We continually worry about maybe not continuously, but at times we worry about whether we will make a fool of ourselves when we're doing certain things. So inadequacy is most definitely a theme that could relate to us, in life, in life in general. Also, Prufrock sees, something I see in this passage was that he's seen only the negative of a lot of things, the negative of his life, negative side of things in his life, the negative side of lives of others. That was definitely something that Prufrock, I don't know exactly what theme I would give that, the title of that, but it was somewhat of negativity, I guess I could say. Seen the negative of a lot of things. This story was most definitely one that had several things, as many stories do. It had several, motives, because several of these things I listed, such as confusion, loss, frustration, limitation, indecision, inadequacy, loneliness, alienation, all of those things recurred throughout this poem. So those are motives. Like I said before, motives is the reoccurring image, idea, or theme of something, of a story. So those are all motives throughout this story. Those are all reoccurring things throughout this story. Also, I want to kind of talk about this story a little more. I want to talk about the fact that, a little background on this poem. The fact that this poem is one of the many masterpieces, of this author. I mean, the methods of, articulation applied made this poem very great in its own way. And I felt as if, many of the things that I gave may have made you feel, if you hadn't read the story, make you think that it's very depressing. But this story is not overly depressing. It's not. But in its own way, it's somewhat beautiful. And it has great meaning. It has great significance. Like even the title. From the title till you get to the end of the story, there's great significance. Everything in this story has meaning. Every theme, every motive, it all has meaning. So, that's all. Thank you I hope you enjoyed. I hope you now understand what a theme is, what a motive is, and what a theme and the motive of the love song of J.Alfred Prufrock is. Thank you, and I'm done.